We now move to the next session. I'm pleased to invite our distinguished invited speaker, Priya Muthukumar. Deepa, you would like to introduce her?
It's so lovely. Once again, another storyteller joining us. And I can't, I keep repeating this, but I'm delighted that we are bringing storytellers and the practitioners together in the same platform. So welcome, Priya. Delighted to have you join us here. Priya Muthukumar, founder the storytelling company, Bangalore. She's a passionate learner, book lover, mother of a teen, professional storyteller who delights in the simple pleasures of life. She's the founder of the storytelling company Storypur, based in Bengaluru. She tells stories of all kinds, different places, across age groups, from toddlers to grown-ups, and has been telling in railway station, parks, literature festivals, corporate offices, schools, colleges all over. There's a lot of environmental wisdom that comes in the nuggets of her storytelling. She's now working on bringing mime and drumming into her storytelling. Her newer projects include working with St. John's Medical College Hospital, has been working closely with teachers and educators. Particular interest is her work with design that she's been doing. And we hope to hear not only the stories of her journey, but particularly the stories of her work with design that she's promised to focus on today. So welcome, Priya.
Thank you so much, Deepa Kiran. Yeah, so first things first, right? Can you see me? I can see there are 125 people here. Yeah, and as a storyteller, an emotional connect is supremely important. So even if you can't switch on your videos, just give me a thumbs up, a digital thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. Oh, thank you, Shivkumar, sir. And if you can hear me clearly, if you can see me clearly, another thumbs up, may I ask, please, request. Dhanyavadalu. Thank you so much. Next question. Can you see the kites right behind me? Yes. Okay. So Sankranti kites, and I've been telling stories to my students throughout this week about Sankranti, Mattu Pongal, and all of that. I didn't want to take off those kites. So I thought let the kites be in the background, even though this is a conference. After all, we all have a child inside us, right? Everyone gets excited looking at kites, balloons, Sakkarai Pongal, Karumbu. Come on, the Sankranti mood is still on, right? Okay. Thank you so much. I'm so honored and privileged to be here amongst all of you, all the esteemed guests and participants. Thank you, Team Indica. Thank you, Professor Shivkumarji. Thank you, Dr. Nagaraj. Thank you, Deepa Kiran. Thanks a lot for having me on board. And when I had, my own insecurities, yeah, I'm going to be very vulnerable here today. I messaged to Deepa and I said, are you sure that message was for me? Do you want me to tell my story? And Deepa said, Priya, your work deserves this invitation. And I said, Deepa, I'm not going to delete this message at all. And here I am. Once again, I thank the cosmos. I thank the universe. Thank you for your time, participant. You're going to be spending the next 30 minutes with me, right? Thanks a lot. Right. The story of a storyteller. Jack of all trades, master of none. Have you heard about that proverb? Yeah. In Tamil, the language that I speak, there is an equivalent, a rough translation, you can say. Palamaram kanda tachan, oru maramum vettan, which means there was a carpenter who went around searching for trees, but eventually he never cut a tree. Please don't cut trees. That's a very different topic. But, that's my story. Is there a Telugu equivalent? I've been trying to look out for one. Is there something like that in Telugu? Quick answers, anyone? You can unmute and tell. Let's keep this interactive the next 30 minutes. Jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, we'll find it out later today. Later, you know, I'm looking for it in Malayalam and other languages as well. Okay, so once upon a time, there was a little girl called Priya, who was born in a very small middle-class family sometime in the 80s in Chennai, right? A very small family, very happy, content family. We had one television, one channel, Doordarshan. Every day, my mother made rasam sadam, one vegetable, appalam. Bonus would be egg. That's all. The father and grandfather, 9 to 5 job. You get a new dress when there's a festival. When it's a birthday, you get a cake. That's it. Life was super simple and we were all very, very, very happy, right? Priya, as a small child, was not one of those little chubby children, you know, whom aunties and uncles will go and say, "Cho, sweet." No, definitely not. And I remember my mother telling that when she carried me and she left me in one place, I could freeze like that. I would not smile, only my eyes would move. I would just blend with the background. There would be other children whom parents would say, "Hey, sing a rhyme." And they would all sing, "Johnny, Johnny, yes, Papa," and everyone would clap. Or they would tell a shloka and they would get applause saying that, "Oh, in your daughter's tongue, Goddess Saraswati lives." I did nothing like that. In fact, my mother told me that she used to feel bad also. Why is my daughter always sitting still like this? Jack of all trades, master of none. When I went to middle school, yes, something did happen. The science and math and English, Tamil, which was supposed to be a very difficult language, ilakkanam, ilakkiyam, grammar and literature, I just loved all of them. I just loved to study. You know, hardly you hear someone saying this, you know, I like to study. I like to do homework. I like to do classwork. I did all of that. I was a learner, right? And when I started playing basketball, my father said he always wanted to be a sportsman and he was into karate. And he said, "She plays basketball. I'm sure she's going to become a state player." And then when I started drawing, my mother used to say, we come from a lineage, you know, a family of sculptors. My great-grandfather was Rao Bahadur. Some of the statues are still there in Chennai. So I'm sure my daughter is going to be an artist, she said. I still draw, but I didn't become an artist. I still play basketball, but I'm not a basketball player. And my grandfather used to say, "Ma, doctor selavu romba jaasti avudhu ma. Kattupadi avla. Pesama, you get good marks and you become a doctor, amma." My grandfather, my tata used to say. I loved biology. I loved chemistry, but I never became a doctor. And then my grandmother, why leave her behind? She said, "My granddaughter has to learn Carnatic music. She has to learn Veena." So they put me in that class. I sang well. I played the Veena, but I never became a Carnatic musician or singer. Life went on and on. I did all of this, but I didn't become anything they hoped I would become one fine day. Amidst all of this chaos and confusion, there was a small bud of creativity blossoming somewhere in the corner. Every afternoon, I remember right from class 6 onwards, I had 5 friends and we used to proudly call ourselves as famous 5. We sat under the Puliyamaram, the tamarind tree, okay? And I would dissect and analyze every Mani Ratnam movie that was released. Every single Mani Ratnam movie, right from Idayate Tirudade, Mauna Ragam, Agni Nakshatram, not just narrate, right from screenplay, scripting, enacting. None of my friends got the opportunity to watch those movies then, but they saw the movies entirely through me. That's what they say whenever we have a reunion. Okay, so that's how my life was. I never thought narrating stories could bring so much of happiness in the introvert in me. Jack of all trades, master of none. Okay, right. Now it was time to choose a career or a profession. Basketball, biology, chemistry, music, sports, drawing, arts. Finally, the bottom line, at least those days, was MBBS or engineering. Quickly, we tried for MBBS. I didn't get through. I became a pharmacist. I enjoyed pharmaceutical organic chemistry. Great, super. Okay, now jack of all trades. I went round and round. I could do many things. Finally, I pinned on one thing. I became a pharmacist. Life took another turn, right? I got married, had a child. Now what? I had to take care of my kid. I sat there watching TV. Everything seemed to belong to me. Sports, arts, everything. Jack of all trades, master of none. I don't think it's a nice thing, I felt. Everything belonged to me. But do I belong to something? That's when there was a call for English news readers on the newly launched channel, DD News channel. But I don't have a visual communication degree. I don't have a mass communication degree. Nevertheless, let me apply. I can speak good English. I will not mispronounce any minister's names. I applied. I went with my baby for audition. My father dropped me at the studio and I cleared. I became a newsreader for 1 year, talking, narrating, facing the camera, spotlight. I enjoyed that. But once again, family commitments, I had to take a break. Now, enough of this, going round and round and round. Though I was enjoying everything, as I told you, everything belonged to me. But do I belong to something? That's when I joined my child's school. Accidentally. Hey, I can't teach, I don't know how to teach. I can't handle children. All that happened. For 7 long years, I taught in that school. Rather, I learned in that school as a facilitator 7 long years, one after the other. That's where humanizing, social connect, emotional connect, everything which was right inside, what my mother used to say, every time I was left like that, I used to blend with the background. I understood those kind of children as well. But wait a minute, there's something called as blessed unrest. Whenever you're feeling frustrated, whenever you're feeling restless, it's not wrong. At least in my case, it has never been wrong. Okay, the blessed unrest happened once again. I said 7 years in this place. Why are we not telling enough stories across the education sector? Hardly. When you want to fill time 5 minutes before the bell, why are we telling stories? Stories are so powerful. Why are we not talking about our social responsibilities through stories? Why are we not talking about environmental responsibilities through stories? That's how storytelling happened for me. One fine day, I was a lost soul, but I was determined. I gave up my job, my comfort zone, and I decided to tell stories. I decided to become a storyteller. I didn't even know that storytellers existed at that time. This was roughly 8 years ago. The first storytelling session happened right over here in our terrace. 7 people, 5 of them were my friends. They didn't know whether they were supposed to tell a story or whether I'm going to be telling a story or whether there was going to be a storytelling competition. But I said, hey, I feel I need to tell stories for some reason, especially about environmental and social responsibility. Somewhere we are neglecting this. Yeah, we have to do it. And it happened. Yeah. There's always this thing, when you believe in something very strongly, the universe conspires for your wish, your dream to come true. By word of mouth, another person, I must say, I don't even know where she is. She contacted me. She said, I have a very small bookshop. Why don't you come and tell stories over there? I said, fine. Every second Saturday, my storytelling sessions happened. Okay. Sometimes I had only 2 children, but the family would be there. The whole lot of them will listen to stories. Sometimes there would be, I think the max was 12 because the room itself was only so much. But the whole week, I would be super excited. I would think of innovative methods. I would think of the creative aspects which are not being explored generally, the topics which are not being talked about, everything was concocted, put forth in a nice manner. And I would wait for Saturday with my big bags, 2 big bags with props. 1 child, 2 child, 2 children, 12 children, as I told you. Slowly, jack of all trades, master of none. Finally, I become a storyteller, but wait, the pattern did not stop right over there, right? So when I became a storyteller by word of mouth in the lovely city I live in, Bengaluru, the very eco-conscious people, we have a lot of environment, eco-melas, fairs, Sunday markets, right? For everything, Priya, the eco-storyteller was called, okay? I started asking myself, I like this, I just love this, yeah. Environment is so close to my heart. But that label, am I an eco-storyteller? I wondered. I told stories in Cubbon Park and other parks. Every tree, every bug, every flower had a story. Yeah, you have to just sit down and explore. The mango tree is supposed to be so auspicious because Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati got married under the mango tree. So that is why even now we have torrents, bunches of mango leaves outside, our doorway, or during weddings, right? So that was a beautiful story. The pink trumpet tree in Bengaluru has an amazing history. The Britishers wanted an ornamental element, aesthetic element to the city. So they brought these trees here, ornamental trees, the pink trumpet trees, very similar to the cherry blossom. Every tree. So I started digging deeper, finding these stories about every plant in mythology, in history. How did they come to this place? How do they contribute to the place, the city, the flora, the fauna, the coexistence, okay, which we are experiencing and most of us are failing to experience as well. So hold on. Have I become an ecological storyteller, nature storyteller? I don't know. Ecological storyteller? I don't know. Jack of all trades, master of none? I really don't know which label. Okay, this journey led me to culture. Wow, we belong to such a beautiful cultural canvas, right? Beautiful cultural canvas. The languages that we speak, every custom has a meaning. I felt both children and adults, including me, we need to know about it, why we are doing certain things. I started digging deeper, started finding out more about cultural stories. What is the significance behind this practice or habit? Oh, now that also, there were many people who listened to it wonderfully. So have I become a cultural storyteller? Well, I don't know. You see, there was always chaos. There has always been chaos in my story, but it has worked for me. That's the best part. That's when somewhere from up north, a group of college students, rather I must say someone who was working on a project called as 52 Parinde, who wanted to write about 52 Indians all over the country who have chosen a less trodden path, career path, and who are making their livelihood. They wanted to write about me, take an interview, wanted to see how I work. You know, does storytelling really give you money? Does storytelling really give you bread and butter kind of a thing? And that was definitely an honor. I was called to Udaipur. I was part of their exhibits. You know, I got to discuss with many students. And I said, follow your heart. Yeah. If it's going to make you happy, somehow you will make it. And that's how I am here, standing in front of you as a storyteller. By word of mouth, this went on and on, you know, from Raipur, went to Kanpur, started telling stories from the south of India, folklore. I shared it with some people up there in the other part of my country, and this went on and on. Now, one thing which I explored in this journey, I'm always in that explorative mode. That's why I'm saying, you know, I'm jack of all. That master word never fits at all. One song, I must be extremely grateful to Shri S.V. Rangarao, Maya Bazaar. Ha 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 ha. If you're there, if you're okay, you can unmute yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, join me in ha ha ha. Find that child in you right now. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, see, I can see few faces, but all those faces have smiles. That's what music, stories. We just go back to childhood. We don't have any filters. Who's watching? Am I appropriate? Yeah. So that really worked in my favor. I started, though I wasn't a musician, I started using these small tunes. It could be film songs, it could be folk songs, it could be my own rhythms. You know, I started learning a little bit of bongo drums. I started using those rhythms. Wait a minute, nature storyteller, ecological storyteller, musical storyteller. Who am I? Jack of all, master of none. The confusion continues. That's when I was in this exploratory phase, when I had also started telling stories, well-researched stories about freedom fighters. One story which I told, which was extremely close to my heart even today, is about Vausi, freedom fighter. So did I become a history storyteller? Well, I didn't think too much, but I did have these questions in my mind. And then came someone else, and they said, hey, you know what? We don't have stories about electronic waste, e-waste. Anyway, you're a storyteller. Why don't you write? And I said, no, yeah, I'm not a story writer. I'm a storyteller. Now that led me to something else. Jack of all trades, let me write a story. So I started writing sustainability stories, which were published in Down to Earth magazine over times, and it was great news. When I heard that these stories were being read out in libraries to children, these stories were around simple aspects like switching off the lights when you're not using them, trying and reconnecting with nature, reusing, recycling, things like that. Wait, coming back to Jack of all trades, master of none. Some of the corporate companies around, they said, hey, we need storytelling for our employees as well when it comes to communication skills, things like that. I said, corporate companies, me? Okay, I will try. I learned. I was not born with an innate talent, I would say that. I learned, I spoke to people, interviewed people, researched. I started telling brand stories. We used brand stories of Ford, Lamborghini, Mysore sandal soap, MTR Rava Idli. All these stories were spoken about, talked about in our sessions. So did I become a brand storyteller or a corporate storyteller? I really don't know. I really don't know. Now, coming to the aspect where I am now, Jack of all, master of none. I don't know about the second half. Okay. As I've been going around here, I get this call from the Fashion Technology College, India's one of the best design schools asking me if can you do a workshop for all our teachers, pan-India, design school, about my dress sense. I told you I'm from Chennai. All the shopping, I did it in Pondi Bazaar. That's where you get a lot of discounted rates. You get a lot of nice things. Or Pantheon Road, Egmore. I remember buying a meter of cloth for ₹30. This was those days. Okay. That's where my dress sense stops. Okay. And here they're calling me for a workshop in a top-notch design schools. This is for the entire faculty across the country. It was a fabulous session. I didn't do anything. Credit goes to the power of stories. From there onwards, I moved on to the other centers, NIFT Bengaluru, NIFT Mumbai, NIFT Gandhinagar. More streamlined was my work. Work on fabrics, storytelling on fabrics, storytelling on textiles, storytelling on dyes, prints, motifs, folklores. Once upon a time, there was a king in Kutch. And this king, every single day, wanted a new bed sheet. No repeating the bed sheet. Yeah. Now, the people were really tired supplying or providing new bed sheets every single day. He would just sleep on it for one night and the bed sheet would be sent away, sent back. So the people were having a tough time, the weavers, dyers, printers, and all of them. That's when one smart weaver, one smart printer had an idea. That was his turn. He took a piece of cloth and he dyed it into dark blue, which signified the universe. He used red color on it, which signified the earth. The white signified the clouds. The black signified darkness. The bedspread was ready. Just imagine a moonless, dark, a star-spangled night sky. That's how the bedsheet looked like. Folded, sent to the palace. The royal housekeeper took the bedspread, spread it on the bed. I hope the king likes it. Yeah, we can't keep changing it every single day. That night, the king came back, as you should, and he slept on that bed. The next day morning, the housekeeper, as usual, he was grumbling, again I should change the bed sheet. Tried to pull it off. That's when the king said, Aaj rakh, aaj ke din rakh. Leave it. For today, let it be there. It was great news, big news. The news spread like wildfire. Aaj rakh, aaj rakh, aaj rakh became Ajrak, the famous Ajrak print. Dark blue sky. Remember I told you? Red, yeah, iron alizarin, and blue, indigo, white is the resist. This is the famous Ajrak print. And I'm very, very sure, just today, just do this as a small assignment, just for my sake. Go around your house, any corner. Just try spotting the Ajrak print. I'm sure you will be having a dupatta or a kurta or a small purse or a pouch, something. Cushion cover, bedspread like the Maharaja. Okay, so we all have it around us. But now, after listening to the story, look at those things. Look at that fabric now. This is called as humanizing the craft. You develop a certain connect. You can't explain this further. Okay, and there is another reason also why it's called as Ajrak, because the process itself is long and complicated. You have to wash the cloth. And the printer says Ajrak. He has to let it rest. And then he has to dye it. Again, he says Ajrak. And then he prints on it. Again, it has to rest. Ajrak. And then it has to dry. See, so many days for just one piece of fabric. That is why they say Now, all this is part of folklore. It's called as Ajrak print. Not just that, every craft, and I wouldn't say only in India, every culture is rich with stories like this. We need to humanize crafts like this. That's when the connect between us and the people who are behind that. Now that becomes lively, that becomes enriched. Leria, they are from Rajasthan. They remind the dunes, to the sand dunes, the patterns on the sand. They also believe that there's a story which says that people keep waiting for the rain. So these remind them of the monsoons to come. And they forget about this long wait, they dance and sing. There's a beautiful story in the Rajasthan folklore. So many stories. And this is exactly what I do with the fashion technology students, which Deepa wanted to specifically talk about, because this is something very, very important. And Pitapur in Gujarat, the men folk who are carpenters used to make wooden bangles for the women. And the women wore plain saris. Every time they splashed organic dyes on themselves, turmeric. Step 2, the men started carving the bangles. And that's how block prints were born. Yeah. So there are so many stories, yeah, which make my heart sing. Remember, jack of all trades, master of none. So who am I? A textile, design, print, motif storyteller? I don't know. And I get another call, this time from the St. John's Medical College Hospital. Can you be a resource faculty? We want you to humanize medicine. Many people think that medicine is very dry, but we want the general public to connect with the people behind those inventions and discoveries. Those people who invented, the person who invented the stethoscope, he was also like you and me. He too had his frustration. He too had his failures. We want you to tell those stories, they said. And that's what I did. Stories about the evolution of surgery, stories about anesthesia, story about the doctor coat, the garb, how it has evolved all through the years. This year, especially because of COVID, how it has changed even more. There are stories behind all of that. Okay, no longer any subject, any topic is dry. Okay, as long as you tell these stories and connect with your listeners, with your students, with anyone and everyone around. Currently, I am working on the Oxford Typhoid India project, along with St. John's Medical College Hospital, where we are trying to use stories to create awareness about the disease typhoid, which is very much prevalent, though we don't talk much about it. And not just that, I'm also going to be working very close with the doctors and paramedical professionals on something called as medical storytelling, which is a very, very nascent form. It is all across the globe, where we are going to be talking, where we are going to be discussing and learning and exploring more about health services and our connection with environment, health services, and things, sanitation, hygiene, and all of that. I'm going to finish it, sir. Shivakwa, sir. Just give me 1 minute, sir. Okay. So, jack of all trades, master of none. So, sometimes it's okay to be jack. So, what if you're not a master? I'd prefer to be jack only all the time because it has really helped me. Right? Okay. On that note, thank you so much. Oh, wait, we started with the kites. Let's end with the kites. It doesn't matter if your kite flies high or low. It doesn't matter at all. As long as your kite is flying and it's flying in different directions, just enjoy it. Thank you so much. Pranam, namaste, namaskar. Have a wonderful weekend, all of you.
Thank you so much, Priyaji. I think the last sentence that you said, I think that is something that I will carry for a very long time. The kite must keep flying. That is important. The rivers flow, different rivers flow in different directions. Some are very wide, some are narrow. They go meet the ocean, but again they come back through the sky in the form of a rain. And a small droplet from somewhere beneath the earth once again becomes a river. I think that being in that flow is extremely important. Why you said, jack of all, master of none. I think you are a master weaver. With all the knowledge that you have from across different sources, all expertise is end of the day, can only create a good society when there are enough people who can weave it across and build a civilization. And storytelling is one important aspect of building that civilization. Thank you so much for doing this.